start.
All right. Welcome to the Feast of Trumpets 2006, to the Memorial of Trumpets 2016. We're going to not only learn about the Memorial of Trumpets, but we're also going to learn about the trumpet themselves. So we give Father all the glory and praise and thank Ahaya, we thank Yeshua, the Mashiach, and Wawawak, the Holy Spirit. This starts the solemn feast of the year. The 7th month starts the solemn feast with trumpets. We get to the Day of Atonement in 10 days, and then the Tabernacles in about 3 weeks. So we thank Father for this. Each feast has a meaning. Day of Atonement probably is a little more significant, a lot more significant. But each feast has a different meaning. And we're going to learn each and every meaning. Well, we're going to learn about trumpets today. All right? We already know about the Passover. We know about the Feast of Unleavened Bread. We know about the Feast of First Fruits, Pentecost. Okay? Now we're going to learn about trumpets. In a few weeks, we're going to learn about the tabernacles. All right? So we give all praise and glory to the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. As we now start to feed our brains now. Okay? Get an understanding on what the Feast of Trumpets really is. Right? And how important the trumpet is in the Bible. So our media, our email, the YouTube channel, thank Father, our services, free counseling, healing, deliverance, and street preaching, which we'll be doing soon. What do we got coming up? We got a teaching. We have a teaching called deception. Okay? This world is full of deception. Just look at your dollar bill, and you'll see all kinds of deception on it. Fornication. We're going to learn about fornication, what the Bible says about fornication, and how these spirits operate. All right? So we're going to learn about that as well. Our next feast is Tabernacles. This is a double Shabbat, ladies. On September 24th through October 1st. So, September 24th, we have a teaching and the meal. September 25th, that's Sunday, we have a teaching and the meal. And then October 1st, we have the teaching and the meal. This is a double Shabbat, all right? That's the end of September. And of course, we're going to learn about tabernacles and what that really means. Day of Atonement, September 19th sundown to September 20th sundown. Dry fast. No one is exempt from the dry fast except for I shouldn't have to say, right? Everybody is included in the Day of Atonement. No work, no school, no drink, no eat. That's a total dry fast from sundown on the 19th to sundown on the 20th. We're going to have a teaching. The teaching will be at noon. Okay? Feast of Dedication. This is a happy feast. December 3rd through the 10th. We're going to learn about dedication. We're going to learn about our brothers, the Maccabees, from the Apocrypha. Alright, so we're going to learn about the Maccabees, what they did in the Feast of Dedication. Our Winter Holy Day, December 17th. If you don't know where the holy days come from, it comes from the book of Jubilees, the 6th chapter. Okay? Our Winter Holy Day is December 17th. All right, what we're teaching on in October, demons, angels, the spirit world, everything. Leading up to Halloween at the end of the month. All right? All right, today the Memorial of Trumpets. And also today is the Fall Holy Day. That's why we're having a meal. If it was just the Memorial of Trumpets, there wouldn't be a meal. Okay, because it's not a feast day. All right? Well, let's go through our feast days. These are our feast days. We have Purim, or Lot. Some people call it Lots, the Feast of Lots. Some people call it Purim. That's in February. And I'll have the dates as we get closer. All right, everybody knows about the Passover. That's in March. Our spring holy day also is in March. Feast of Unleavened Bread is in March. The Feast of First Fruits, or Pentecost, that's in May. Our summer holy day is in June. Trumpets today. Fall holy day today. Tabernacles later on this month. Dedication in December. The winter holy day is in December. And the Day of Atonement, well, that's not a feast. Just put it up there because it is a holy day. Let's get started. Our first scripture, Matthew chapter 6, verse 10. The book of St. Matthew chapter 6, verse 10. Let's read that.
Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven.
So everything that's done on earth is done in heaven. The heavens are having their own feast of trumpets. Their own Memorial of Trumpets today. The Day of Atonement, they'll be having their own Day of Atonement. Tabernacles, they'll be having their own tabernacles. There's a reason why these holy days are in place. And we're going to find out a little later on trumpets. The different meanings for the trumpet. First of all, it's used as a musical instrument, of course. So let's get 1 Chronicles chapter 13, verse 8. 1 Chronicles 13 and 8. Let's read that.
And David and all Israel played before thy power with all their might, and with singing, and with harps, and with psalteries, and with timbrels, and with cymbals, and with trumpets.
All right, so it's used as a musical instrument, obviously, right? It's made of ram or silver. Okay? The trumpet is either made of ram horn, which we were blowing out today, or silver. Let's get Joshua 6:4. Some of these scriptures we're going to have twice because I need to explain in detail. Joshua 6:4.
And 7 priests shall bear before the ark 7 trumpets of ram's horns, and the 7th day ye shall compass the city 7 times, and the priest shall blow with the trumpets.
All right, so I'm gonna really dissect Joshua the 6th chapter later, just to give an overview now. You have the 7 trumpets of ram's horns, the 7th day. 7 times the priest blows the trumpets. 7 means what in the Bible?
Completion.
Completion. Okay? Numbers chapter 10 verse 2, and we're going to also go in depth on Numbers 10 chapter also. So Numbers chapter 10 verse 2, let's read that.
Make thee 2 trumpets of silver, of a whole piece shalt thou make them, that thou mayest use them for the calling of the assembly, and for the journeying of the camps.
So we got the ram's horns. The trumpets are made out of either the ram horn or they're made out of silver. Okay, either one of those two, right? All right, the trumpet is required to give an intelligible and understood sound. You should understand what the sound of the trumpet is getting prepared for. 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 8. 1 Corinthians 14, 8. Let's read that.
For if the trumpet gave an uncertain sound, who shall prepare himself to the battle?
So if the trumpet is giving out a sound that the king is being coronated, but there's actually there's a army coming into the city, that can cause confusion. Everybody, oh, we got a new king? Wait a minute, and here comes an army coming. Different sounds were made for different events, and I'm going to show you that. Okay, it's to be blown at all religious processions and ceremonies. Just to get an idea of what the Bible says on trumpets. Let's get 1 Chronicles chapter 15, verse 24. 1 Chronicles 15, 24. Let's read that.
And Shebaniah and Jehoshaphat and Nathaniel and Amasai and Zechariah and Benaiah and Eliezer, the priests did blow with the trumpets before the ark of the Most High, and Obedom and Jehiah were doorkeepers for the ark.
All right. So this is a religious ceremony. They're blowing the trumpets before the ark of the covenant. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Okay, go hold it. First Chronicles, because somebody on YouTube may have that same question. First Chronicles chapter 15, verse 28. Okay, let's read that.
Thus all Israel brought up the ark of the covenant of the Most High with shouting and with sound of the cornet and with trumpets and with cymbals, making a noise with psalteries and harps.
So it was a religious progression. Whenever there's a ceremony that's about to start, or whether they're about to start the Shabbat with the teaching in the synagogue, they would always have the trumpets. The trumpets would always blow to signify, okay, we're about to get started. Okay? War. War is another reason why they would use the trumpet. Let's go to Judges chapter 3, verse 27. The book of Judges chapter 3, verse 27. Let's read that.
And it came to pass, when he was come, that he blew a trumpet in the mount of Ephraim, and the children of Israel went down with him from the mount, and he before them.
So they were getting prepared for battle. The trumpet signified there's a certain sound that would blow with the trumpets. That would mean that, okay, it's time to fight. Sounding for a memorial when the people went into battle. All right, let's get to Numbers. Numbers 31, verses 6 and 7. Numbers chapter 31, verses 6 and 7. Let's read that.
And Moses sent them to the war, 1,000 of every tribe, them and Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the priest, to the war with the holy instruments, and the trumpets to blow in his hand. And they warred against the Midianites as the Most High commanded Moses, and they slew all the males.
They slew everybody.
Wow.
When you're told to do something, you probably want to do it.
Saul learned that the hard way.
Well, yeah, he did. He learned that the hard way. All right? But it's not only just with war. The trumpets also will proclaim kings. When it's time for a king to be proclaimed, they would blow the trumpets. So let's get 2 Kings chapter 9, verse 13. 2 Kings 9:13. Let's read that.
Then they hasted and took every man his garment, and put it under him on the top of the stairs, and blew with trumpets, saying,
Jehu.
Jehu is king.
So with the kings, before the coronation and all that other stuff, they would blow the trumpets to let the people know that there's a new king.
Who is Jehu?
He's a king. He was a king.
An important king?
All the kings are important.
Not David important, no.
Oh, okay. All the kings are important. Giving alarm in cases of danger. Just gave me an idea for a teacher.
On the kings of the Bible?
The kings of the Bible.
Can I teach you?
I need to write that down. Somebody write that down for me.
What?
Do a Bible study on the kings of the Bible. Israel and Judah. All right. Give an alarm in case of danger. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 33, verses 2 through 5. Ezekiel chapter 33, verses 2 through 5. All right, let's read that.
Son of man, speak to the children of thy people, and say unto them, when I bring the sword upon a land, if the people of the land take a man of their coats, and set him for their watchman, if when he seeth the sword come upon the land, he blow the trumpet and warn the people.
He blows the trumpet and he warns the people. When he sees the enemy coming, I don't mean the devil, because I don't call the enemy the devil, because that's kind of
what Wesley.
But when they see the enemy, the true enemy, then they blow the trumpet. Verse 4.
Then whosoever heareth the sound of the trumpet and taketh not warning, if the sword come and take him away, his blood shall be upon his own head.
His blood is going to be on his own head. So you hear the trumpet going, and you like, nah, that's not it. I think I could sit down and watch I Love Lucy for a few more minutes.
I love Lucy.
While the trumpet is being blown, you sitting up there watching TV commercials. Your blood is upon your head. Same thing when Yeshua is returning and that trumpet is blaring. You're not prepared for it. Your blood is going to be on your head. Verse 5.
He heard the sound of the trumpet and took not warning. His blood shall be upon him, but he that taketh warning shall deliver his soul.
He that taketh warning shall deliver his soul. What about the priest? The priest to blow the sacred. Let's go to 2 Chronicles chapter 7, verse 6. 2 Chronicles 7 and 6. The Levites, so-called Haitians. Let's read it.
And the priests waited on their offices. The Levites also with instruments of music of the Most High Ahiah, which David the king had made to praise the Most High Ahiah, because his mercy endureth forever.
His mercy endureth forever. Go ahead.
When David praised by their ministry, and the priests sounded trumpets before them, and all Israel stood.
All Israel stood. That's what we get. You stand during praise and worship.
What is this trumpet for again?
The trumpet is for, for the priest.
Okay.
Huh? What about when a jubilee comes? We all know what a jubilee is, right?
40 years? It's 50.
50 years is what's called the year of Jubilee. And in the year of Jubilee, every 50 years, all your debts were wiped clean. If you had slaves, they were let free. If you were a slave, you were set free. The land would rest. That's what the year of Jubilee is. We're in our last, and that's every 50 years, and we're in our last Jubilee now. Okay, before Yeshua comes back. You have to check out the 70 Weeks of Daniel teaching that we have online and get an instruction. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 25, verse 9. Leviticus 25 and 9. And that's not just with the 50-year Jubilee. There's also a 7-year Jubilee as well. All right, let's read that.
Then shalt thou cause the trumpet of the Jubilee to sound on the 10th day of the 7th month. In the day of atonement shall ye make the trumpet sound throughout all your land.
Day of Atonement is very, very, very key for Israelites.
Yes, it is.
Very, very key for Israelites. We're going to learn that in 10 days. All right? The war horse. The war horse getting acquainted with the sound. So apparently, obviously, if you're going into battle, you have to get prepared, but your animals also have to get prepared, right?
Yes.
Let's go to Job. The book of Job, chapter 39, verses 24 and 25. Job 39, 24 and 25. Let's read that.
He swalloweth the ground with fierceness and rage, neither believeth he that it is the sound of the trumpet. He saith among the trumpets, Ha, ha! And he smelleth the battle afar off, the thunder of the captains and the shouting.
So the trumpets, it always signifies that something is about to happen. You need to pay attention to it. The Most High higher power to raise the dead. Let's get 1 Thessalonians 4:16. 1 Thessalonians 4:16. The dead have to be able to hear, right? Let's read it.
For Yeshua himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trump of the Most High Ahiah, and the dead in Yeshua shall rise first.
Question, where are these dead?
In the bosom of Abraham?
In Abraham's bosom. Correct. We're not actually dead, right? And then these bones come up. No, they're in Abraham's bosom. They come up and rise with Yeshua first. The proclamation of the gospel. Okay? Before we got started with the praise and worship, the trumpet was blowing. The gospel is coming. Psalms 89:15. And let's read Psalms chapter 89, verse 15.
Blessed is the people that knoweth the joyful sound. They shall walk thy power in the light of thy countenance.
Blessed is the people who know the joyful sound. The gospel is a joyful sound. Anytime the gospel is being preached correctly, it is a joyful sound. Okay? And then their countenance. You see the Most High, the person who's preaching the gospel, according how it should be preached, their countenance should be as light.
That's right.
Okay? The bold and faithful preaching of ministers. All right, let's get Hosea chapter 8, verse 1. Hosea 8 and 1. Let's read that.
Set the trumpet to thy mouth. He shall come as an eagle against the house of the Most High Ahiah, because they have transgressed my covenant and trespassed against my law.
Okay, so the trumpet kind of has a lot of different meanings to it other than just playing it for music. Okay? What about in the latter day? When the last judgment comes, will there be a trumpet played then? Let's get Revelation chapter 8, verse 13. Revelation 8:13.
And,
Let's read that.
and I beheld and heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, Woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth, by reason of the other voices of the trumpet of the three angels, which are yet to sound.
All right. We're going to do a Bible study on the three woes. And we're going to show and tie that with China and Russia. Okay? We're going to do a Bible study. We're going to do a teaching on the three woes. We need to understand what the Bible is saying with these three woes and what destruction is going to come after these three woes. Okay? We are called to be set apart in truth, not unified in lies. Okay? All right, now that we get an idea of the trumpets, let's talk about the Feast of Trumpets. Okay? Let's go to the Apocrypha. Ecclesiasticus chapter 43, verses 6 through 8. Ecclesiasticus chapter 43, verses 6 through 8. All right, let's read that.
He made the moon also to serve in her season for a declaration of times and a sign of the world. From the moon is the sign of feast, the light that increaseth in her perfection. The month is called after her name, increasing wonderfully in her changing, being an instrument of the armies above, shining in the firmament of heaven.
Shining in the firmament of heaven. That's joyful. I don't know about you, but I just fell in love with the scripture.
Falling in love.
Not with that. All right. The Memorial of Trumpets is when the children of Israel will blow the trumpets at the beginning of the month, go to war. They would sound it, the trumpet, and the Most High would remember them before they go to war and save them from their enemies. We are to celebrate this holy day by having a holy convocation and a feast unto the Most High. So let's go to Numbers, the 29th chapter. Let's get an explanation on the feast, on the Memorial of Trumpets. Numbers chapter 29, verses 1 through 6. Numbers 29, 1 through 6. Let's read that.
And in the 7th month of the first day of the month, ye shall have a holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work. It is a day of blowing the trumpets unto you.
All right, so the Bible says we're to have a holy convocation. That's what we're doing now. We're having a holy convocation. The Bible says you are to do no servile work. So the Bible gives us a definition on what we're supposed to do. You can't do jobs and get paid for it. That's what no servile work means. This is different than a normal Shabbat. Okay? This is a day of blowing trumpets for you. And how do we know we can cook? Verse 2. Let's read that.
And ye shall offer a burnt offering for a sweet savor unto the Most High. 1 young bullock, 1 ram, and 7 lambs of the first year without blemish.
Okay, go ahead.
And their meat offering shall be of flour mingled with oil, 3/10 deal for a bullock, and 2/10 deals for a ram.
All right, so you have to do a burnt offering. On a normal Shabbat, you would not be able to do that. But this is a holy day, so you're allowed to cook. Verse 4.
And 1/10 deal for lamb throughout the 7 lambs, and 1 kid of the goat for a sin offering to make an atonement for you.
We're going to really explain verse 5 on the Day of Atonement with the scapegoats. All right, verse 6.
Beside the burnt offering of the month, and his meat offering, and the daily burnt offering, and his meat offering, and their drink offerings, according unto their manner, for a sweet savor, a sacrifice made by fire unto the Most High Ahia.
Okay? So we got the meat offering, the daily burnt offerings, you got the drink offerings. Those offerings mean something specific. Each one of those offerings means something specific. All right? And in the manner of sweet Savior, a sacrifice made by fire. Remember, in other Shabbats, you cannot start a fire. This Shabbat, and really all the holy days, you can start a fire because you have to sacrifice an animal. We don't have to do that right now. So if you're wondering where our lambs are and where our goats are, and we don't have to do that. Many of us celebrate these evil holidays and not the true holy days that we are supposed to. The Most High gave us these special days to observe from generation to generation. The holy days are in Leviticus, the 23rd chapter. The children of Israel will blow the trumpets at the beginning of the month. Also, before they go off to war, they would sound and blow the trumpet. The Most High would remember them. Okay? Just got a little quote here. Sometimes I just throw little things in here. Harriet Tubman says, I freed 1,000 slaves. I could free 1,000 more if they knew they were slaves. A lot of people don't. A lot of people, back in those days, they're called house ladies.
Yeah.
They're called house what?
House ladies.
Oh.
Right?
So they dance to your like slaves?
Okay? They like their job. They love their master. right? Always, if something going on with the house, what's wrong with our house? Massa? You know? Like Brother Malcolm said, the slave owner is sick, and then he said, "We sick, Master? What's wrong with us, Master?" That's a broken person. All right? The Most High always had a heart to warn his people before he executes his judgment. The Most High warned his people before the flood. He did that with Noah, right? He warned the people of Nineveh before that was destroyed. The Feast of Trumpet reflects the Most High's desire to give us a warning. A warning. The Feast of Trumpets fell on the second Shabbat of the 7th month. Yes, even though this is the 9th month, we don't follow that. That's the pagan calendar. Our year starts in March.
Yeah.
I want to hear what say happy.
And it's the sabbatical feast. And it's 3 feasts: trumpets, atonement, and tabernacles, even though atonement is not a feast. And these are also called the high holy days in the Bible. All right, number 7 is about completion. The Feast of Trumpets herald through the blowing of trumpets in the final phase of the Hebrew religious year, typically brought to completion of the Most High's plan and the deposition of sin. So these are our brothers walking around Jericho with those trumpets. We want to have a little bit more of that a little later. I'm just doing a broad overview right now before we really hit it. All right? So what does the Bible say about the trumpets? Let's go to Leviticus chapter 23, verse 24. Kind of read this in Numbers. But Leviticus chapter 23, verse 24. Let's read that.
Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, in the 7th month and the 1st day of the month shall ye have a Sabbath, a memorial of blowing of trumpets, a holy convocation.
A holy convocation. Okay. We're doing everything that is dictated for the Feast of Trumpets now. Okay? And when the Day of Atonement comes, we're doing the same thing. What did the Bible? What did the use of the trumpet signify in the Bible? Like I said, we're going to be going back between Leviticus and Numbers. So let's go to Numbers chapter 10, verses 3 through 4, and then we're going to skip down to 9 and 10. Leviticus chapter 10, verses 3 through 4. Let's read that.
And when they shall blow with them, all the assembly shall assemble themselves to thee at the door of the tabernacles of the congregation. And if they blow but one with one trumpet, then the princes which are heads of the thousands of Israel shall gather themselves unto thee.
Okay, so Israel is gathering themselves together for the Memorial of Trumpets. Okay? The trumpet is very significant in Hebrew history. Very significant. And I'm going to show you why a little later. Verses 9 and 10.
And if ye go to war in your land against the enemy that oppresseth you, then ye shall blow an alarm with the trumpets, and ye shall be remembered before the Most High, and ye shall be saved from your enemies.
Verse 10.
Also, in the day of your gladness and in your solemn days, and in the beginning of your months, you shall blow with the trumpets over your burnt offerings, and over the sacrifices of your peace offerings, that they may be to you for a memorial before thy power. I am the Most High.
I am the Most High. So basically the trumpets were just being blown for everything. Different sounds, but it was being blown for everything. Couldn't have the same sound for everything, then everybody be confused. This was supposed to be from last week, but I just thought I'd put it in here. The real power of a man is the size of the smile of the woman sitting next to him.
All right.
Wouldn't you agree with that?
It is true.
That's fine.
Power of a man is the size. You better smell big.
It's not the strength of the man or how he's strong in character. It's the woman who's sitting next to him. If she has a big radiant smile, you're doing something right. If she's frowned up, you're doing something wrong. If she's just stone faced. All right. All right, let's get back to trumpets. Trumpets could attract people from long distances. They were used to communicate important messages, let them know of war, let them know of festivals. Does the Most High call on his people to give a warning like a trumpet? That's a pretty big show.
That looks like Arya.
All right, let's get Isaiah 58:1. A lot of times when we go street preaching, we kind of start with this scripture. Isaiah chapter 58, verse 1. Let's read it.
Cry aloud, spare not. Lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgressions, and the house of Jacob their sins.
So that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to cry aloud. We're not supposed to spare anybody's feelings. Lift up your voice like a trumpet and show the people their transgression. Show the people Sunday worship is wrong. Show the people that calling on the name Jesus is wrong. And we show the house of Jacob their sins. Okay? Matthew 24:14. Matthew 24:14, let's read that.
And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all of the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come.
So when the gospel is preached through all four corners of the earth, that's when the Messiahs come. And with the internet and everybody being able to get on the internet, that's going to be real soon. Real soon. There's signs all over the place on the end times. All over the place. Millions of dead animals just popping up. It's pestilence. Okay? People want to say, pay attention to Iran. No, you don't want to pay attention to Iran. Who cares about Iran? You want to pay attention to Russia and China, according to the Bible. And I got something about that next week. Okay? Well, when we do the teaching on the three woes, you'll find out why Russia and China is significant. Ezekiel 33, verses 1 through 9, the Most High expanded on his expectations. He compared Ezekiel's responsibility to a watchman who was expected to blow the trumpet as the warning of an impending war. The Most High proclaims the Most High's church also feels responsibility to warn end time. We are responsible to warn people of the end times. Warn people that the coming of Yeshua is coming soon. Okay? We don't want to be stuck in the 3.5-year tribulation where all hell's going to break loose while we are in the wilderness. What about Ezra and Nehemiah? What did they teach about the trumpet? About the Feast of Trumpets? Let's go to Nehemiah chapter 8, verses 2 to 3, and then verses 8 and 9. We know who Ezra and Nehemiah were, right? They were prophets.
They were prophets.
Nehemiah chapter 8, verses 2 through 3. Let's read that.
And Ezra the priest brought the law before the congregation, both of men and women, and all that could hear, with understanding upon the first day of the 7th month.
So he brought the law. First, they had a holy convocation. Verse 3.
And he read therein before the street that was before the water gate, from the morning until midday, before the men and the women, and those that could understand. And the ears of all the people were attentive unto the book of the law.
He was out street preaching. From the time of the morning until midday. He was out street preaching. Alright? Let's skip down to verse 8. And let's read that.
So they read in the book and the law of the Most High distinctly, and gave the sense and caused them to understand the reading.
Cause them to understand it. Verse 9.
And Nehemiah, which is the Tirshath, and Ezra the priest, the scribe, and the Levites that taught the people, said unto all the people, this day is holy
This day is holy.
unto the Most High. Mourn not, nor weep, for all the people wept when they heard the words of the law.
That don't happen no more.
You get a couple middle fingers, that's about
People
it.
they don't weep because the words of the law, which is the words of the Most High, are being preached. People throw up the middle finger at you, tell you to go do things to yourself. That's what people do now.
Yeah, they do.
People are not afraid of the Most High anymore. They don't have any fear of the Most High anymore. Alright? So this day is a holy day unto the Most High. So Ezra the priest brought the law before the assembly of the women and men, all of that can hear with understanding. Then he read it from the open square, which is the water gate, from morning to noonday. So they distinctly read from the book in the law of the Most High. We know what the law of the Most High is, right? We know that's the first 5 books of the Bible, which is called what?
Torah.
The Torah. And Nehemiah, who was the governor, Ezra, the priest, and the scribe, the Levites taught the people. And the people were hearing the word and they were getting pricked in their hearts. Not anymore. Some people hear the word, but you know what? When they gonna finish? When they gonna finish? I'm ready to get to my meat. Sorrow and repentance are natural consequences of many of the things associated with trumpets. Ezra and Nehemiah encouraged the people. We should encourage the people. What does the Feast of Trumpet represent in the Most High plans for salvation? And I just thought I'd put that up there. All right. What do the 7 trumpets of Revelation signal? So let's go to Revelation chapter 8, verses 6 and 7. Revelation 8, 6 and 7. And let's read. Have all the trumpets been sounded?
No.
No.
Very good. No, all the trumpets have not been sounded. Have all the seals been broken?
No. Yes. Yes.
All the seals have been broken.
Yes.
Messiah broke them when he went up.
How? Oh. That's just a revelation, John the Revelation.
All the seals have been broken. Have all the vials been poured?
No.
Yes.
All the vials have been poured already.
Yes.
The 7 vials? We have a teaching on Revelation and the 7 vials. That's a long story. All right, let's read.
And the 7 angels which had the 7 trumpets prepared themselves to sound. The first angel sounded, and there followed hail and fire mingled with blood. And they were cast upon the earth. And the third part of trees was burnt up. And all green grass was burnt up.
All green grass was burnt up. So the 7 angels who had the 7 trumpets prepared themselves to sound. The first angel sounded, and hail and fire followed, mingled with blood, and they were thrown to the earth. And the third of the trees burned up, and the third of the grass burned up. Why does our long suffering, the Most High finally brings this punishment on humanity? Throughout history, humanity has been rebellious against the Most High. Let's get precept, 1 John 5:19. 1 John 5:19, let's read that.
And we know that we are of the Most High, and the whole world lieth in wickedness.
The whole world lieth in wickedness. Okay? We know that we're of the Most High. At least we should know. Even in the midst of these 7 trumpets, the Apostle John reports that people did not repent. When these trumpets are going off, there's still going to be people who are not going to repent. They're not going to change their ways. Let's go to Revelation chapter 9. Revelation 9, 20 and 21. Revelation chapter 9, verses 20 and 21. And it's something, because there's going to be a lot of things that are going to be happening. And people are still going to refuse to repent. Yeshua is going to be pleading and begging with people, and they're still going to refuse to repent. Let's read Revelation chapter 9, verse 20 and 21.
And the rest of the men which were not killed by the plagues yet repented not of the works of their hands, that they should not worship devils and idols of gold, and silver and brass, and stone, and of wood, which neither can see nor hear nor walk. Neither repented they of their murderers, nor of their sorcerers, nor of their fornication, nor of their thefts.
They just won't repent. There's going to be some people who just won't repent. After everything that's going on in the earth, they're still not going to repent. Okay?
We'll still be eating pork.
It will take the full force of the Most High's controlled and loving wrath to bring people to the point where they are ready to listen and obey Him for their own good. But what about that 7th trumpet? Okay, let's see about this 7th trumpet. Let's go to Revelation chapter 11, verse 15. Revelation 11 and 15. Let's read that.
And the 7th angel sounded, and there were great voices in heaven saying, The kingdom of this world are become the kingdom of the Most High, and of His Christ, and He shall reign forever and ever.
He shall reign forever and ever. Yes. Then that's why the trumpets, that's why all the trumpets haven't been blown yet. That hasn't happened because we're still, I was about to say we're still stuck here. But yeah, we're still stuck here. The 7th angel sounded, and a loud voice in heaven, the kingdoms of this world have become the kingdom of the Most High, and Christ. He shall reign forever. The return of Yeshua to set up the kingdom of the Most High on earth is a significant event. And that's associated with the blowing of trumpets. It heralds the most important news possible of this world, death and self-destruction. So the Memorial of Trumpets is not one particular incident or one particular thing. You know, it's a conglomerate of a lot of activities that are going to be done. Okay? We have to be able to hear the trumpet when it's been blown to get us prepared to move to the wilderness. Okay? We have to get that understanding. How close will humanity come to self-destruction? Let's get Matthew 24, 21 and 22. Matthew 24, 21 and 22. This is why you do not want to be in that 3.5 years. Let's read it.
For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be.
So, this great tribulation, much greater than the flood. Much greater than that. Much greater than what happened in the book of Exodus, leaving Egypt. 22.
And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be short.
Yeah, you notice how you just feel like the days are just flying by?
Years.
The Most High is doing that on purpose. Because if he doesn't shorten it up, there won't be anybody for Yeshua to come back to. Time is running short. And the Most High is doing that because if the world continues the way it does right now, there wouldn't be anybody when Yeshua does come back, or even better, when the wilderness sounds off and we have to go to the wilderness, those paths are going to be empty. Yeshua promises to intervene just in time to save humanity from self-inflicted extinction. Do you think the people are going to welcome Yeshua when he come back?
No.
Nope. They'll be shooting cannons out. They're building cannons right now to try to shoot out.
How you know that's what they're trying to do?
Let's get Revelation 19:19.
And I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army.
Now, this battle, well, we'll get into that at another time. The world doesn't want Yeshua to come back. The world is doing everything they can to warn of when Yeshua is coming. All the satellites that are in the air, they're not for you to get a good reception on your TV. Okay? They are so asinine that they think that they can give an early warning system that Yeshua is coming. Oh, here he come. Let's go to the mountains. Let's flee. Here he come. I just thought I'd put this picture up here. Kind of like these Israelites are deep. Why pastor never goes over this? Oh, goodness gracious. All right, let's get Revelation 19:16.
And he hath on his vesture and on his thigh a name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords.
You know that's Yeshua. Okay?
Yes, it is.
Yeshua coming on a white horse.
Yes.
King of Kings, Lord and Lord. King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Revelation 19:19 shows that one on the horse is Yeshua, the King of Kings. Amazingly, Satan would so deceive humanity that there's going to still be people. There's still, even when Yeshua is coming, there's still going to be people who are not going to repent.
It's going to be almost the entire world, right?
Not quite, because a lot of us are going to have to get Revelation 12:9. This is all at the last trumpet, by the way. Revelation chapter 12, verse 9. Let's read it.
And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil, and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him.
Now, I don't see enemy. I don't see enemy here.
That's because you ain't Christian.
It says called the devil and Satan. I don't see an enemy here. That's why we don't pray against the enemy. The enemy used to be, for me, used to be cauliflower. I hated cauliflower. So my enemy is cauliflower. I bind cauliflower right now. See what I'm saying? Christianity has it all twisted.
What about the adversary?
No,
That's what
he
the
is called an adversary. He's actually is called an adversary. But the enemy. All right, what else is going to happen at the last trumpet? Okay. Let's get 1 Chronicles. No, I'm sorry, Shlaki. 1 Corinthians chapter 15. 51, 52. 1 Corinthians 15, 51, and 52. Let's read that. Come on.
Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trumpet, for the trumpet shall sound.
At the last trumpet, for the trumpet shall sound. Go ahead.
And the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be
The
changed.
dead shall be raised incorruptible. Now we get new bodies. Okay? Our bodies get new bodies. But when this event happens, because the Bible says that we're going to fall on the sword and it will not kill us. Well, if somebody falls on the sword right now, you're going to die. Okay? But where our bodies are going to be changed. So when those demonic whatever thinking they're killing us, when they're not, but we're just keep stockpiling their bodies up, our bodies are going to change. Okay? All right, let's get Leviticus 23, 24. We've had this scripture before, right? Yeah, I think we did. Let's read it.
Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, in the 7th month and the 1st day of the month shall ye have a Sabbath, a memorial of blowing trumpets, a holy convocation.
All right, so what does a holy convocation mean? To properly understand the intent of a holy convocation of the weekly Sabbath and annual holy days, we need to define the terms in question. The Hebrew phrase, Barak Kodash, the phrase is the Hebrew construction form, which basically equates to positive tense in English. Basically, a holy gathering, a holy convocation. This is a holy gathering.
Well, how do you say that? Mikra Kodash?
Mikra Kodash. All right, the Feast of Trumpets shares with the Day of Atonement two fundamental differences. First, both feasts were not connected to any historical or they are seen celebrations at the time of an individual to stand before judgment seat of the Most High, seeking forgiveness and cleansing. We're going to learn a lot about the Day of Atonement when we get to the Day of Atonement. Second, both feasts were observed not like the other festivals in a spirit of exalted joyfulness, but a spirit of intense moral and spiritual introspection. You have to look at yourself. That's what the trumpets is for. That's what the Day of Atonement is for, especially the Day of Atonement. Okay? The Bible tells us that we are to have a holy convocation and a feast unto the Most High. Let's get Numbers 29 and 1 again. Let's read that.
And in the 7th month, on the 1st day of the month, ye shall have a holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work. It is a day of blowing the trumpets unto you.
So the Most High gives us what we're supposed to do. No servile work means you can't work. But you can do everything else. Okay? Prepare for the feast, prepare for the teaching, whatever the case may be. The blowing of trumpets was understood, the end.
Right.
We want to look forward to the day of judgment when the Shia comes. Right? We want to be all that. Right? Y'all don't sound like it. The final judgment. The text just cited shows the blowing of trumpets as seen as a prototype for the great white throne judgment. Okay? It is to help us appreciate why the great day of the Lord is announced by the prophets with the blowing of the shofar. Getting understanding? We're getting an understanding now. No? Great.
Con.
Let's go to
Come on, y'all,
Joel
wake up.
2 and 1. Maybe that'll do something. Joel 2 and 1. Let's read that.
Blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble. For the day of the Lord cometh, for it is nigh at hand.
Now, do we know where Zion is, right?
Yes.
In Israel.
No. Zion is the what? Zion is not in Abraham's bosom. What did you say?
The spiritual city.
It's the spiritual city. Okay, Zion is not, even though there is a Mount Zion, when the Bible refers to Zion, it's talking about the spiritual city Zion, or New Jerusalem.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
All right.
The day of the Lord. Who can tell me what the day of the Lord is?
Nice.
the Most High.
Huh?
His wrath on all who didn't repent and basically follow his ways.
That's right.
Nothing nice.
Nothing nice. Those who did not repent.
Shall
Okay?
perish.
All right, blow the trumpets. All right, let's get more of an understanding. Let's get Zephaniah chapter 1, verses 14 through 16. So we get an understanding that the trumpets signify, the blowing of trumpets is signifying judgment is coming.
Car.
Thank you. Zephaniah chapter 1, verse 14, 16. Let's read it.
The great day of the Lord is near. It is near and heseth greatly. Even the voice of the day of the Lord, the mighty man shall cry there bitterly.
The mighty men shall cry bitterly. Obama. If he even cared about the great day of the Lord, if it was to be tomorrow, he would be crying.
Uh-huh.
The Pope, he would be crying.
Yep.
God on earth, he got some nerve. Blasphemy. Verse 15.
That day is a day of wrath, a day of trouble and distress,
Uh-huh.
a day of wasteness and
Uh-huh.
desolation,
Uh-huh.
a day of darkness and gloominess,
Uh-huh.
a day of clouds and thick
A
darkness.
day of clouds and thick darkness. So this is why Christians are woefully ignorant. I can't wait till the great day of the Lord comes. Woo, I can't wait. Oh, Yeshua's gonna carry me up in a cloud of smoke.
Jesus.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, they wouldn't say Yeshua.
Eat my clothes.
Jesus gonna carry me up. I can't wait for the great day of the Lord to come. It's gonna be wonderful. That shows you that somebody's not reading their Bible. Clearly it says wrath, trouble, distress, wasteness, desolation, darkness, gloominess, thick clouds of darkness. Now, do you need your NIV to interpret that for you?
Yep.
No.
Let's go to 16.
A day of the trumpet and alarm against the fenced cities and against the high tower.
Now, if you're following the holy days, according to how you're supposed to follow the holy days, you should not get caught up. See, right now, you got a bunch of Christians who are at, what's the mall up there?
Desert Sky,
They're at Desert Sky Mall shopping,
smoking cigarettes.
getting ready for Sunday worship.
Passing out cookies and slimes.
And I'm not being mean by harping on Christians. I'm gonna talk about Muslims and Catholics too.
Mormons.
Final, the heavenly judgment in Daniel chapter 7, verses 9 and 10. We're gonna get that. The understanding of the Feast of Trumpets as an inauguration of heavenly final judgment that lasted 10 days until the Day of Atonement, when the verdict was issued. So now we get an understanding on what the Day of Trumpets is about and the Day of Atonement is about. Okay? We got sort of an understanding, but let's get Daniel.
Yeah.
Let's go to Daniel chapter 7, verses 9 and 10. Let's read that.
I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit.
Oh, who's the Ancient of Days?
Alright.
Most High. Go ahead.
whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire.
So if you don't like who you are, you don't like what you look like, you're basically insulting the Most High. Because he looks just like us. Who else? The Most High has a hair of wool, has hair like wool. We have hair like wool. They're white. So ladies, when you start getting that white hair, don't be trying to dye it. Let your hair grow white. I did.
We know.
Verse 10.
A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. Thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set, and the books were opened.
See, we can teach on the great white throne judgment and not even go to the book of Revelation. I say there's a lot of things that we can teach about the end times, and we don't even have to touch Revelation.
God.
It's all in the Old Testament. This is talking about the great white throne judgment. Those books are open. And everything that you have done is going to be presented, and you have to give an account. Whether you're an Israelite, a Christian, whomever. Everybody has to give an account. Well, wait, no, I'm a Hebrew Israelite. I don't have to give an account. No, yeah, you do too. Yeah, you do too. Why is that door open?
Smoke.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right. So everybody has to give an account. I have to give an account for everything that I've done. And Elisa is going to have to give an account for everything she's done. She's a baby. Yes, even a baby. Right?
God.
All right, the Hebrews saw a connection between the heavenly judgment in Daniel 7, 9, and 10 and the heavenly judgment of the Feast of Trumpets. Sound that horn. Let's explain, let's get more explanation on trumpets. All right? The Most High don't deal with rituals, first and foremost. He don't deal with rituals. He don't deal with sacraments. He don't deal with all that. The Most High is a teacher, and he wants us to get back our salvation. The feast days are not just to fill the Bible. They're just not there. Leviticus 23 isn't there because Moses needs to figure out what to write about in Leviticus 24. All right? The feast days are not just to keep us busy. The feast days are to get you ready for a time to come. Every single one of the feast days are to get you ready for a time to come. Every single one of them. With the exception of Purim and dedication. Those are two separate. But Passover, unleavened bread, first fruits, trumpets, Day of Atonement, tabernacles. Okay? If you understand the feast days, then you'll understand the Most High's plan. It's very simple. Let's get Leviticus chapter 23, verses 1 and 2. Leviticus 23, verses 1 and 2. Let's read that.
And the Most High spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, concerning the feast of the Most High.
Concerning the feast of who?
The Most High.
Of Israelites.
The Most High.
Christians.
The Most High.
These are feast of the Most High. Go ahead.
Which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations. Even these are my feasts.
Even these are my feasts. The Most High is saying, even these are my feasts. They're not Israelite feasts. They're not a tribe of Judah's feast. They're the Most High's feast. Okay? Your children should be celebrating these feasts. We're going to be doing the same thing in the wilderness. All right, let's get Leviticus 23 and 4. Let's read that.
These are the feasts of the Most High, even holy convocations, which ye shall proclaim in their seasons.
Proclaiming their seasons. A lot of Israelite groups are not doing trumpets today. They're doing it in October. That's wrong. A lot of Israelite groups this past year did Passover in April. That's somebody who thinks they know a lot and they don't know anything. How can you get that you can do Passover in April? When April is the second month, not the first. Okay? A holy assembly. The Most High has a reason for the trumpets. Let's read it again. Leviticus 23 to 25. Go ahead.
And the Most High spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, And the 7th month and the first day of the month shall ye have a Sabbath, a memorial of blowing of trumpets, a holy convocation.
And we've already tied this blowing of trumpets to repenting and getting ready. All right, verse 25.
Ye shall do no servile work therein, but you shall offer an offering made by fire unto the Most High.
Okay, pay attention. No servile work. Can you cook? Yes. Can you clean up? Yes. Can you go to the store? Yes. Can you go to work? No. Not until sundown. Okay? Yeshua is about to introduce himself to Moses. Let's see that in Exodus 19th chapter. Let's read.
And the Most High said unto Moses, Go unto the people and sanctify them today and tomorrow, and let them wash their clothes, and be ready against the 3rd day. For the 3rd day the Most High will come down in the sight of all the people upon Mount Sinai. Sinai.
Sinai. Yeshua is coming down to the people. What's going to happen next when he comes down? Exodus chapter 19, verses 14 to 19. Let's read it.
And Moses went down from the mount unto the people, and sanctified the people, and they washed their clothes. And he said unto the people, Be ready against the 3rd day, come not at your wives.
Okay.
And it came to pass on the 3rd day in the morning that there were thunders and lightnings and a thick cloud upon the mount, and the voice of the trumpet exceeding loud.
The voice of the trumpet exceeding loud. Okay. Thick cloud upon the mount. Go ahead.
So that all the people that was in the camp trembled.
All the people in the camp trembled. 17.
And Moses brought forth the people out of the camp to meet the Most High, and they stood at the nether part of the mountain. And Mount Sinai was altogether on a smoke, because the Most High descended upon it in fire. And the smoke thereof ascended as the smoke of a furnace, and the whole mount quaked greatly. And when the voice of the trumpet sounded long and waxed louder and louder, Moses spake, and the Most High answered him by a voice.
All right, so a lot of things is going on. What happened when he was there? Let's go to Exodus chapter 20. Exodus 20, 18 and 19. Let's read that.
And all the people saw the thunderings and the lightnings, and the noise of the trumpet, and the mountain smoking. And when the people saw it, they removed and stood afar off.
So let's just say that the mountain range here, or White Tank Mountains, we start seeing thunder and lightning. We start seeing the mountains start to smoke. and then we hear this loud trumpet blaring.
No, we probably run.
That'll get our attention, won't it?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Verse 19.
And they said unto Moses, Speak thou with us, and we will hear. But let not the Most High speak with us, lest we die.
They were afraid. They were afraid. The people could not take no more. They tell you no more 10 commandments. In order that there's no more 10 commandments, there needs to be no more sin, right? We don't have to follow the 10 commandments no more. Or we don't have to follow all the 10 commandments. Well, if that's the case, then there has to be no more sin in order for us not to follow the 10 commandments. Sin is the transgression of the law. You cannot make up sins. It's a sin. Look at that girl dancing. That's a sin. There's no sin in the Bible. There's no law in the Bible that says thou shalt not dance. Now, of course, it depends on how she's dancing. If she's praising the Most High, that's not a sin. But if she's doing things with poles, if you know what I mean, then that's a sin. And don't be looking like, what is he talking about? Few of you have been to a strip club. Don't be sitting up there. What? What are the trumpets used for? Let's go to Numbers chapter 31. Verses 1 through 6. Numbers 31, 1 through 6. And let's read that.
And the Most High spake unto Moses, saying, Avenge the children of Israel of the Midianites, afterwards shalt thou be gathered unto thy people. And Moses spake unto the people, saying, Arm some of yourselves unto the war, and let them go against the Midianites, and avenge the Lord of Midian.
Avenge the Lord of Midian, verse 4.
Of every tribe 1,000, throughout all the tribes of Israel shall ye send to the war. So there were delivered out of the thousands of Israel 1,000 of every tribe, 12,000 armed for war. And Moses sent them to the war, 1,000 of every tribe, them and Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the priest, to the war with the holy instruments and the trumpets to blow in his hand.
All right, we're going to go to Joshua, the 6th chapter. Okay? Remember earlier I said we're going to go to Joshua chapter 6. Let's get an explanation. The trumpets represent the coming of Yeshua. The trumpets represent the wrath of Yeshua. The holy instruments is the Ark of the Covenant, which represents the presence of Yeshua, which always came after the trumpets. Without the trumpets, there is no coming of Yeshua. So let's explain all this in Joshua, the 6th chapter. The city, the falling of Jericho is just like the coming of Yeshua. Same thing, different time zones, right? Let's read it. Don't take my word for it. Too late. What's wrong with y'all? Let's get it. Joshua chapter 6, verses 1 through 8. Joshua chapter 6, verse 1 through 8. Let's read that.
Now Jericho was straitly shut up because of the children of Israel. None went out and none came in.
So we get an understanding that Jericho is like the world today. Go ahead.
And the Most High said unto Joshua, See, I have given into thine hand Jericho, and the king thereof, and the mighty men of valor.
Verse 3.
And ye shall compass the city, all ye men of war, and go around about the city once. Thus shalt thou do 6 days.
Thus shalt thou do 6 days. Verse 4.
And 7 priests shall bear before the ark
Joshua chapter 6, we're going to be at verses 12 and 13. That's Joshua chapter 6, verse 12 and 13. Let's read that.
And Joshua rose early in the morning, and the priest took up the ark of the Most High, Ahiah, and 7 priests bearing 7 trumpets of ram's horns before the ark of the Most High, Ahiah, went on continually, and blew with the trumpets, and the armed men went before them, but their reward came after the ark of the Most High, Ahiah. The priests going on and blowing with the trumpets.
Blowing with the trumpets. The priests were directing the war. The priests were directing the battle. Okay? More on this later. We're almost done. Joshua chapter 6, verse 15 and 16. Joshua chapter 6, verse 15 and 16. Let's read that.
And it came to pass on the 7th day that they rose early about the dawning of the day and compassed the city after the same manner 7 times. Only on that day they compassed the city 7 times.
7 times, go ahead.
And it came to pass at the 7th time, when the priest blew with the trumpet, Joshua said unto the people, shout.
He said, shout. So what you think they did?
They raised up the voices.
You think they sounded like that?
Nope.
Joshua probably would have got a dagger and cut whoever sounded like that. I'm shocked. Read.
For the Most High, Ahiah, hath given you the city.
So they were yelling. They were shouting. It wasn't a... Okay? Joshua had trumpets, priests, and men. Let me show you what's going to happen next. So, they're getting ready, right? Let's get Joshua 6:20. Joshua 6:20. So it wasn't just the trumpets that did all this. It was the shouting. Let's read.
So the people shouted with the priests, when the priest blew with the trumpets.
The people shouted when the priest blew the trumpets. Go ahead.
And it came to pass, when the people heard the sound of the trumpet, and the people shouted with a great shout.
They shouted with a faint shout.
With a great shout.
They shouted with a girly shout.
With a great shout.
With a great shout. Go ahead.
That the wall fell down flat.
Where else did that happen?
Judah.
It happened with Judah and Goshen. When he shouted and the walls of Goshen fell.
Yeah.
Read.
So that the people went up into the city, every man straight before him. And they took the city.
Now imagine, you have these big walls of Jericho in your city. You're inside the city. And these Israelites are yelling. And your walls, they're yelling so hard that your walls are crumbling.
There was thousands of our people. Yes. Power.
The Ark of the Covenant represents the presence of Yeshua. He comes after the trumpets are blown. Jericho is an example of what is going to happen to the world when Yeshua returns. It's the same thing. The walls falling down represents the falling down of this world. Let's get informed. Let's go to learn something on the way to learning something. Revelation 6, 12 through 17. Now, the walls are broken, right?
Yep.
Con.
Okay, now let's see what happens. Revelation chapter 6, verse 12 through 17. Let's get it.
And I beheld when he had opened the 6th seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake. And the sun became black as the sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood.
Moon became blood, 13.
And the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as the fig tree casts her untimely figs,
Yes.
when she is shaken up of a mighty wind.
Shaking of a mighty wind, figs just fall off. Go ahead, 14.
And the heaven departed as a scroll.
It departed as a scroll.
When it is rolled up together. And every mountain and island were moved out of their place.
Jericho's fallen. Verse 15.
And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man, hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountain.
Hid themselves in the den and the rocks. Oh my goodness, our walls done fell. We got to run, we got to flee, because those Israelites are out there. 16.
And said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb.
They're going to want suicide that they're so afraid. 17.
For the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand?
Who shall be able to stand? Everybody's going to run. People that have disrespected him are going to run. People who have whitewashed him and made him to be that effeminate Caesar Borgia, they're going to run. He's not coming like Christianity. He's going to come back and he's going to love everybody. No, he's going to bash their children up against the rocks. That's in the book of Psalms. He's going to have revenge on everybody who had done his people wrong. To myself. Remember, Yeshaya. Remember, that was Yeshaya who drowned the world -8.
Yep. Yes, it was.
Remember, Noah was sitting up there pleading with them. Yeshaya drowned the world -8. Remember Yeshaya, the tribe of Benjamin. Who are the tribe of Benjamin?
Jamaicans.
Our brothers from Jamaica. He reduced them down to 500. Remember that?
Yep.
When they were siding with the Sodomites,
Yep.
he killed them down to 500 people.
Lots.
That was Yeshaya. That was the one. Jesus loved everybody. That was the same one. Right? The same one who tried to kill the Israelites 4 times in the wilderness. He wanted to kill them 4 times in the wilderness. Murmuring and complaining. You complaining about the shoes on your feet. You complaining about eating manna. You complaining about water. He wanted to kill them 4 times in the wilderness. But Moses had intervened. This is that same Yeshaya. So when he comes back, where is the love? Where's the love?
He's coming to extract vengeance.
The love is when you follow his commandments and you keep his laws. That is where the love is.
Oh, that's deep. The love is when he died on the cross.
That's his love for us.
That's his love for us.
And our love for him.
So he died on the cross.
There we go.
And you want to sit up there and continue to smoke pot. When he comes back, he's going to bash you across the rocks. I never heard that scripture before. We'll get that in Psalms later. In fact, let's find it. Somebody find that scripture in Psalms where he's going to bash others against the rocks. Okay? Let's get Revelation 7, 1 through 4. I should have had that scripture. Revelation chapter 7, verses 1 through 4. Let's read that.
And after these things I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth.
So these angels are holding destruction. That's what the 4 winds are. Go ahead.
That the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree.
That's not talking about the wind blowing on trees. It's talking about destruction. Okay? The angels, they're being held back right now. Verse 2.
And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living power. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea.
What did he say?
Saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our power in their foreheads.
Every single one of you gentlemen right now, you should have the seal of hire on your forehead. Wait a minute, ain't that the mark of the beast? No! We read our Bibles. We know that there's a seal that the Most High is going to put on your forehead. Right?
God.
Right? Let's get verse 4.
And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and they were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel.
You get a seal on your forehead. You get the Most High seal on your forehead. I never heard of that before. Yes. You are the elect 144. You get a seal on your forehead. Hurt not the earth. The angel was the Shia said, hurt not the earth until we get 12,000 from each tribe. Once we get 12,000 from each tribe, it's a wrap. Hurt the earth. Okay? The four winds are the Gentile nations. A great multitude are other nations that will be sealed because they repent. Okay? Other people who are Gentiles who repent. A lot of brothers on YouTube now. Full-blown Edomite. Calling on Ahiah in Yeshua's name. Saying that we are the true Jews. Guess what? They're going to make it before GMS. They're going to make it. Before any of these Israelite groups who are bashing women, who are downgrading people, who are calling other people, other races out of their name, who are misinterpreting the Bible woefully. It's okay for me to curse because Elisha cursed. But you got a Edomite who redneck as redneck can be, saying, I want to thank Ahiah in Yeshua's name. I praise him. Those 12 tribes are those 12 tribes of Israel. I'm a Gentile and I will be welcomed them because I'm keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. Yeehaw! That person will get in before some foul-mouthed Israelite standing on the street corner. Think of that for a second.
That's just real racist.
Revelation 7:9. Revelation chapter 7 verse 9. Let's read it.
After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude which no man could number, of all nations, and kindred, and the people, and tongues stood before the throne, and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes, and palms in their hands.
Clothed with white robes, meaning they were righteous. That's what the white robes mean. That all these people decided that, you know what, I'm going to follow Ahiah. Yes, I am a Gentile. I'm Chinese. But I'm going to follow Ahiah in Yeshua's name. They're clothed with righteousness and the palms and peace in their hands. All nations, all kindreds of people. So where do we get where it's only going to be, the salvation is only for the Israelites? No. Who are these people? Revelation 7, 13 and 14. Revelation chapter 7, verse 13 and 14. Okay? Let's read that.
And one of the elders answered, saying unto me, What are these which are arrayed in white robes?
Who are these arrayed in white robes? Go ahead.
And whence came they?
Where did they come from? Verse 14.
And I said unto him, Sir, thou knowest. And he said to me, These are they which came out of the great tribulation.
These are who?
These are they which came out of the great tribulation.
Go ahead.
And have washed the robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb.
They came out the great tribulation. Okay? And have washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. What happens next? Now these people are all sealed up. First, the 144 had to be sealed up. Right? 12,000 from each tribe. Now these people are Gentiles. They're sealed up, right? So now let's go to Revelation chapter 8, verses 1 and 2. Revelation chapter 8, verse 1 and 2. Let's read it.
And when he had opened the seventh seal, there was silence in heaven about the space of half an hour.
Silence in heaven about a half hour. Go ahead.
And I saw the seven angels which stood before the Most High, and to them were given seven trumpets.
There's the seven trumpets. Okay? Everything had to be practiced before Yeshua is to come. Everything has to be practiced. Following the Memorial of Trumpets, we're practicing for when Yeshua comes. You get it?
Got it.
Let's Revelation 8:6. Let's read that.
And the seven angels which had the seven trumpets prepared themselves to sound.
The seven angels, they're about to blow. They're about to blow. Seven angels are like the seven priests in Joshua. Remember? There were seven priests in Joshua who had seven horns. These are the seven angels. They were preparing for war in Joshua time. These seven angels are preparing for war now. The Bible is beautiful. You just got to take time to read it. Let's get Revelation 15:1.
And I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, seven angels having the seven last plagues. For in them is filled up the wrath of the Most High.
In them is filled up the wrath of the Most High. Where was the wrath kindled? It was kindled on Jericho and the walls. Seven angels, seven plagues. Just about done. Revelation chapter 8, verse 7. Let's read that.
The first angel sounded, and then followed hail and fire mingled with blood. And they were cast upon the earth. And the third part of the trees was burnt up. And all green grass was burnt up.
Yeshua is bringing his wrath. He's bringing his wrath. Okay? Let's get Revelation chapter 11, verses 15 to 18. Let's see about the seventh angel. Revelation chapter 11, verse 15 and 18. Let's read that.
And the seventh angel sounded, and there was great voices in heaven saying, the kingdom of this world are become kingdoms of the Most High, and of his Christ, and he shall reign forever and ever.
He's taking over. 16.
And the 24 elders which sat before the Most High on their seats fell upon their faces and worshipped the Most High.
The 24 elders, possibly the 12 apostles and the 12 tribes of Israel. Okay? Ooh, what was that? Oh, I thought somebody said something. Okay? Verse 17.
Saying, we give thee thanks, the Most High, thy power almighty, which art and was and art to come, because thou hast taken to thee thy great power and hast reigned.
They're just praising him. Verse 18.
And the nations were angry.
They're going to be angry.
And thy wrath is come.
The wrath is coming.
And the time of the dead. That they should be judged.
Everybody's going to be judged. Go ahead.
And that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants the prophets.
And who else?
And to the saints and them that fear thy name small and great, and shouldest destroy them which destroyed the earth.
And he's going to destroy them that destroyed the earth. Giving them reward. The prophets, the saints, and them that fear thy name. You fear the name of a higher. Great and small. You're going to get rewarded. The seventh trumpet was to bring war. We must keep the feast. There is a bigger reason than food. This feast is much bigger than food. And everybody got their nostrils just flaring. I just smell the good food. It's
Well,
bigger
the
than
Feast of
that.
Trumps isn't about food at all. That's the fall.
Let's get Zechariah 14. Zechariah chapter 14, verses 1 through 5. Let's read.
Behold, the day of the Lord cometh, and thy spoil shall be divided in the midst of thee.
Let's hear about the great day of the Lord. Read.
For I will gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle, and the city shall be taken, and the houses rifled, and the women ravished, and half of the city shall go forth into captivity, and the residue of the people shall not be cut off from the city.
Verse 3.
Then shall the Lord go forth and fight against those nations as he fought in the day of battle.
This is the great day of the Lord. Christians are saying they can't wait for it to come because it's going to be a lovely and wonderful day. That's a little more. Verse 4.
And his feet shall stand in that day upon the Mount of Olives, which is before Jerusalem on the east, and the Mount of Olives shall cleave in the midst thereof, toward the east and toward the west. And there shall be a very great valley.
We know what that great valley is, right? Let's read.
And half of the mountain shall remove toward the north, and half of it toward the south.
Verse 5.
And ye shall flee to the valley of the mountains, for the valley of the mountains shall reach unto Azel. Yea, ye shall flee, like as ye fled from before the earthquake in the days of Uzziah, king of Judah. And the Most High my power shall come, and all the saints with thee.
So the Most High is coming, his saints are coming. It's time to fight. Why Jerusalem? Because that's where the false prophet will be. The abomination of desolation. And a quote. Okay? Let's learn something. Let's go to Matthew chapter 24, verse 29 to 31. Now, we already know who the abomination of desolation is. The Bible says when the abomination of desolation moves into the holy place, you better get ready. We know that the abomination of desolation is the Pope. We know right now in Israel that the temple, there is no temple, right? Because they got that big old rock over there that Muslims do.
That useless stone.
That useless rock that's over there. So when they move the Muslims out and the Pope moves into there, that's when you better be ready. Let's get Matthew 24, 29 and 30. And Yeshua said all that in Matthew the 24th chapter. Let's read 29 and 31. Go ahead.
Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken.
Didn't we read that in Revelation? Go ahead.
And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn. And they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory.
Power and great glory. Yeshua is giving an account on what's going to happen. Same thing that was read in the book of Revelation as far as the seventh trumpet. 31.
And he shall send his angels with a great sound of trumpet. And they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other.
There you go. The exact same thing that was in Revelation. Right?
That's
God.
about the rapture.
Let's talk about the rapture. Yeshua has been woefully misrepresented about how he's going to come back and what he's going to do when he comes back. Israel won't be united until the last trumpet is sounded. Okay? Passover is about the crucifixion. The unleavened bread is about Christ's burial. The first fruits in Pentecost is about the resurrection and descending. The trumpets is calling us up. The atonement is him returning, and the tabernacle is 1,000-year reign. That's why these feasts are very important and key. Isaiah 27, verse 12 through 13. A couple more scriptures and we're done. Isaiah 27, 12 and 13. Let's read it.
And it shall come to pass in that day that the Most High shall beat off from the channel of the river unto the stream of Egypt, and he shall be gathered one by one, O ye children of Israel.
And he shall be gathered one by one. Who's going to gather us? Okay, verse 13.
And it shall come to pass in that day that the great trumpet shall be blown.
The great trumpet shall be blown. Go ahead.
And they shall come, which were ready to perish in the land of Assyria, and the outcasts in the land of Egypt, and shall worship the Most High in the holy mount at Jerusalem.
And we are going to worship. Okay? Let's get Joel chapter 2, verse 15 and 16. I believe this is our last scripture. Joel 2, 15, 16. Let's read that.
Blow the trumpet in Zion, sanctify a fast, call a solemn assembly. Gather the people, sanctify the congregation. Assemble the elders, gather the children. And those that suck the breast, let the bridegroom go forth of his chamber, and the bride out of her closet.
Who's the bridegroom?
We
Yes.
are.
Shia.
Who's the bridegroom?
Yeshaya.
Yeshaya. Who's the bride?
Us.
Us. I just like that picture.
That's a clean picture right there.
Next week, deception.
You should call it that America.
Sharp.
Deception, AKA.
It's a deception.
All right, so we praise. Bless you. So we praise Father for this lesson. We thank Father for the trumpets. We get an understanding now of the Memorial of Trumpets and how important it is that we hear the call of Yeshua when that trumpet is being blared. So we give all praises unto we give thanks to Yeshua, the Meshach, and honor to Rawawah, the Holy Spirit.